In over 40 plus years of Ironman in Hawaii, there have been some finishes that are so memorable because so many of those athletes overcame insurmountable odds to get there. And through the years, I've had the honor to witness quite a few of those.
Do you want to marry me? She said yes!
Sarah Reinertson. She wanted to be the first female amputee to come across that finish line in Kona. So in 2004, there's Sarah, leaned over, crying, sobbing, and I looked at my watch. Oh my gosh, she missed the bike cutoff. But she said, I'm coming back. Next year, 2005, there she is again. Not many times in our lives we get to witness somebody doing something for the first time among anybody in the world. The crowd was in a frenzy, and here comes Sarah. She was bounding so high down a Leahy Drive, it was unbelievable. And when she came through that finish line and we called her an Ironman, you knew that guess what? You never, ever give up if you fail at something. Unfinished business is all it is. And one day, you're going to finish that business and show the world what can be done. Helen Ward. You know, all our lives we go through watching professional athletes. Baseball, basketball, football. Then you watch an athlete like Helen Ward. And man, what an athlete he was. Wide receiver, Pittsburgh Steelers, MVP in the Super Bowl. Then Helen Ward he leaps out of his comfort zone. Now all of a sudden, he's going to get in the water, clip into a bike that he's never done before, and then run 26.2 miles. Former NFL player, and he wanted to finish the Ironman. When Helen Ward came down a Leahy Drive, the international crowd even understood the great athlete he was. He came through, put those fists in the air, and became an Ironman. And to this day, it's one of the greatest finishes ever. I call them the generation of better, not older. That was Harriet Anderson. The crowd was so revved up because a 79-year-old woman had never done that before. And here she comes down a Leahy Drive. I didn't have to say a thing. It's the loudest I had ever heard a crowd in Kona. And finally, I get the honor of bringing in Harriet Anderson from California as an Ironman.
I want you to give your best! Harriet Anderson, you are an Ironman!
And that's all I needed to say. I didn't say anything for about a minute or two after that because the Iron spectators took care of everything. Because no one ever thought that could happen, but she proved them wrong. And she was, in my mind, the most beautiful Ironman finisher ever. 1989, I met one of the Ironman competitors. His name was Welch from Australia. He took a third place that year behind Mark Allen and Dave Scott. Nobody outside of an American had ever won that race and become world champion. And then all of a sudden, Greg comes to the race in 1994. He lets it all out. You know what you're getting with Greg Welch. Well, we didn't know what we were going to get at the finish line. When he came in, he did a jump up at the air, clicked his heels, stuck out his tongue, and that was his finish, because that's Greg Welch. He came through, and we all laughed and adored him even more when he did it. He was the first one from any country besides the US to win that race. He put it on the map for the world to say to themselves, all these great male and female athletes, I can win Kona. Marcus Cook, in his mind, knew that there was something greater in his life. And he had to make the decision to turn his life around. And that goal was an Ironman. At 500 pounds, it's not exactly a goal that anybody would suggest to him. And guess what? He came to Kona just over 250 pounds. Half his body weight's gone. That in itself is incredible. So when he came to the finish line, I was all prepared to tell everybody that he weighed 500 pounds and, you know, his former self was somebody you wouldn't even recognize. Then all of a sudden, here he comes. And what is Marcus Cook doing but carrying a big cutout poster of his former self at 500 pounds. The awe from the crowd. It was one of the most memorable finishes ever. That picture was spread out all over the world. And I know to this day, he has inspired thousands upon thousands to go out and do better for themselves in life. Marcus Cook did that with that poster above his head.
3 years ago, I was a volunteer. So look, don't tell me that you can't do it. Don't tell me you can't start walking 20 minutes a day.
This is not you, Marcus!